Gabrielle Stone on the Fisch Bowl. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be in the bowl.
Nice to have you swimming in the bowl with me. I hope the temperature is just right.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Awesome. Not too cold, not too warm. Great.
No, it's like a Luke bath water.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. My first question for you, what got you interested in film?
Well, both of my parents were in the industry. My mother still is. So I kind of grew up on sets with them, on movie sets a lot of my childhood. And so I saw it growing up and always kind of thought, maybe I'll do that one day. But when I did my first film when I was 19, I remember walking off set and saying, oh, I never want to do anything else. So I didn't really get the bug until then, but it's been a part of my life since I was born. I was kind of born into it.
Awesome. And that's a great segue into my next question, which is, what is it like being the daughter of Dee Wallace, and how did that impact you growing up?
It's terrible. She's like a really awful human. I'm totally kidding, obviously. My mother, I'm biased, but my mother is one of the most incredible women on this planet. She raised me in such a normal setting. If one of my parents booked a job, then the other one would not take a job. So they only worked one at a time, which in the film industry is really hard to do. You kind of have to take them as they come. If someone was off shooting for more than a week, the whole family went to go spend time on set. And I grew up, playing sports, dancing. They were at all my recitals, very normal childhood. Which I'm very thankful for. And when I got older, my mom and I transitioned from mother to daughter, which obviously will always be, but to best friends. We're super close. We kind of like share a brain in a lot of ways. I'm just proud. I'm proud to be her daughter. She's like Superwoman with all the stuff she does and the lives she touches and the work that she does, not only in her acting, but in her healing work as well.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. I can say the same thing about my parents. If it wasn't for my dad, I would not be into any of the stuff that I'm into. And he's been just, relentlessly saying to me throughout the years, like, do what you want to do what makes you happy, and don't stop until you achieve that goal. And my mom has just been a strong supporter of my dreams, and she did a wonderful thing and actually got me George Romero's desk.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I actually went to school for screenwriting, and I like to say that I'm writing screenplays on George's desk, and I'm proud to say that last year I made it in the finalists in 2 competitions, and this year I won 1 and have made it in the finalist in 2, and will actually be taking a trip out to California in the coming months for Hollywood Horror Fest's film festival.
Nice. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank
and how
you.
Cool. What a cool story to have behind the writing process too.
Oh, absolutely. And just to get it out there, the script that has actually won 1 competition and made it in the finalist in 2 is actually a zombie comedy. So
how fun.
There's the George influence right there.
Nice. I love it.
Awesome. I also wanted to ask you, I saw that the 2 of us are actually 88s in terms of when we were born. I'm April, and I saw that you're November.
Yes.
And I'm just genuinely curious, growing up, in the same era, what type of music are you into, and who are some of your favorite bands?
I grew up dancing, so I have such a wide taste in music, any variety, especially music that makes you feel something. My favorite style to dance was contemporary, so any of the really emotionally gritty songs I always loved. But I can't I was a 90s kid. I can't start like spouting off like these epic rock bands that I'm sure most people would want to hear. I mean, I grew up like with Spice Girls and like NSYNC and, you know, the typical 90s kid. But I mean, to be honest, whenever I need to get out of a bad mood, I put on 90s Pandora, and like that will fix almost any problems you're having in life. They just don't make like rock music like they did in the 90s.
I completely agree. You know, like part of my show is interviewing musicians as well. And you know, I guess I'm definitely a little more in tune with what the current like indie music scene is, but
Yeah.
I definitely agree that you know I think rock and roll reached its peak in the 90s. I think music in general reached its peak in the 90s, and it hasn't. I think it lost that with like the 2000s, and we kind of don't know like what we're looking for, what the next like genre or era of rock or you know music in general will be, because the stuff that's out right now, like I don't consider it like timeless music, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I'm proud to say that I've seen most of the 90s alternative bands that are still around. I had a chance to see Alice in Chains. They came to Pittsburgh a couple years back, and that was like seeing, you know, the same band just without Staley. And I've seen the Foo Fighters, Bush, and Live are actually coming to Pittsburgh in August.
Oh, nice.
That'll be my second time seeing Bush. And I had a chance to see Soundgarden before Chris Cornell passed. And that was an amazing experience. And I'm just a big, you know, music and film buff.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that definitely connects all people from all over. It's like a common language that we all share and can connect with.
Absolutely. And I mean, with my writing, like I really like to incorporate music and into like the stories that I write. You're not really supposed to do that because of, you know, rights issues, but you know, I say fuck it, you know.
Yeah, but it's nice to, you know, when you're writing to be able to paint a picture for whoever's going to be reading it, even if you have to eventually change it because of rights issues. It's nice to kind of give that feel as people are reading.
I feel the same way, and I think it speaks more for the writer as what his message in the story is, and then you know it, like you said, if the time comes where they need to change it, you know they can change it, but the message and what the writer was trying to get like overall across is there, and I think that's probably more important because it speaks out to who the writer is, I guess, versus like trying to appease to what the standards are.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, you have a book coming out, or it's out now
It is. It came out yesterday.
on Amazon. Tell
Yep.
us about it.
So it's called Eat, Pray, FML. I don't know if I can curse on here. Can I curse on here?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, great. I always ask first because I curse like a sailor, so I try and like, you know, edit myself. So it which obviously stands for Eat, Pray, Fuck My Life. It's about the shit show that was my life in 2017. I was married for almost 2 years when I found out my husband had been having an affair with a 19-year-old for 6 months. Filed for divorce, left. Shortly after, met another man, fell madly in love with each other, kind of had like a whirlwind of a romance for a month and a half, and he had convinced me to join him on a Europe trip for a month. 48 hours before we were getting on the plane, he told me that he needed to go by himself, and I was absolutely devastated. So I was sitting there going, well, I can either stay at home and be heartbroken or I can go travel Europe for a month by myself. So I said, fuck it. And I went solo to Europe and traveled around with a backpack with like no plans and wrote a book about it.
Awesome. Well, the experience, not so much, but the overall, you know, aftermath is awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about what readers can expect from the story?
Totally. It's very raw, real, and honest. I write the way I talk. There's F-bombs throughout the whole book. I didn't embellish anything. Unfortunately, my life is way dramatic enough without that. It starts with me finding out about the cheating and the divorce and then this new relationship and then the whole Europe trip. So there's love and heartbreak and sex and partying and travel and adventure. And it's a really fun ride that you will laugh, cry, and really heal from. I really learned how to love myself on this trip. So there is a lot of teaching moments and different healing techniques, but they're sprinkled throughout all the ridiculousness. So it's a really fun read at the same time.
Awesome. What's the page count on it?
It's 280 in paperback. I'm not sure what the ebook is, but I know paperback is 280.
Awesome. Now, I just have to kind of get this out there as well. I also have two things published on Amazon as well now.
Oh, nice.
Both from making as a finalist in competition last year and this year. One is an adaptation from Ambrose Bierce called The Stranger with the same title, and it's a post-Civil War ghost tale. And the second script is actually my zombie comedy, which is titled Grr, a zombie love story.
That's a great title.
Thank you. Now, you also have been following in your mom's footsteps quite a bit. You have an up-and-coming horror career, and you've done a little bit of acting, writing, producing, and directing as well.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I started as an actress. I've done my fair share of horror. You know, I think I'll always want to act. I did my first film that I directed in 2016? Or no, 2016. Co-wrote, co-directed, co-produced, and starred in it. And we took it to festivals. It was called It Happened Again Last Night. It's out on Vimeo right now if people want to check it out. It's a story about a girl who is in an abusive relationship with a man who has fallen in love with her best friend who happens to be a female. So it's very domestic violence, LGBTQ related. And we took it to festivals and ended up winning a bunch of awards and had like a year-long festival run. And I directed my second film last October called After Emma, starring Amy Smart and my mother, Dee Wallace. And we just sent that into festivals. So we're waiting to see where we're going to premiere and screen at. And that's a drama as well. And because of that short, I was offered a feature to direct, which I'm not allowed to announce the name of yet, but it's based on a best-selling book that's a really, really incredible story that I'm excited to bring to the big screen.
Awesome. Now, you were also in a movie with your mom, a horror film that was, I guess, considered like the Expendables of horror, Death House. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I was in like literally the last scene of that film to set up the sequel, which I don't know if it will ever happen. But yeah, she has a really different role in that from what she's used to playing. My mom and I have done a few films together. One horror film we just finished called Await the Dawn, and which is going to be really good. And I play her son's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, which is so funny because with the other film that we had done together was called Zombie Killers with Anchor Bay, and I played again her son's girlfriend. So we've worked together a few times. We're actually in development for a festival feature where we're going to be playing mother-daughter for the first time.
That's awesome. And, you know, I have to say that you guys are like spitting images of each other. I
hear that a lot.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm a carbon copy of her. It's ridiculous.
You know, I also have to say that, you know, I had a awesome conversation with your mom, not last week, but the week before. And it was such a pleasure talking to her. And, you know, I can tell you guys have like a really good relationship because She was so excited to promote your book. And I could not help myself by saying, I'd love to interview you because part of what my show is, helping up and coming artists and filmmakers and people of the entertainment industry to kind of get their stuff out there. So I'm happy to have you on the show. I would definitely love to do another interview. I also wanted to tell you that, I just finished a script that's an H.P. Lovecraft adaptation with kind of like in mind of like having you play the lead female role.
Oh, awesome. I love it.
It just got done. I'm like planning like kind of like a TV series kind of like around it. I don't want to like say too much because, listeners.
Yeah.
But I would love to send you the script and like hear what you think. It's a fun, very, very B grade horror adventure survival type script.
Awesome. I would love to read it.
Awesome. I will definitely send you that. I have 2 closing questions for you.
Okay.
What are some of your favorite films?
Oh, that's always such a hard question. Definitely What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. That's always been one of my favorites. I love how they depict heaven in that film, and it's just such a good piece of art. I love Requiem for a Dream, although I feel like anytime I watch it, I have to sit and contemplate my life for 2 hours after. But Ellen Bernstein in that film is just perfection. If you ever like want a lesson on acting. Comedies, I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I think I literally know that entire script. Definitely one of my favorites. And Cujo has always like held a really special place in my heart because it's one of my mom's favorite films. My dad's also in it, so that's probably on my list as well.
Awesome. Now, I have to just say like a funny story about What Dreams May Come. I was younger. I went to this movie theater in Pittsburgh that is actually no longer there. It's now a Sheetz, which I'm not sure if you know what that is. It's kind of like a gas station with like a food area.
Okay.
Yeah, people, my cousins are from out of town. And every time they come in, it's like, we got to go to Sheetz.
Oh, how funny.
But I went with my best friend at the time to this movie theater, and we wanted to go see Soldier with Kurt Russell.
Uh-huh.
And of course, that movie's R. And, we're both the same age, so there's no way we were getting into that on our own. My mom had already left, after dropping us off at the theater. So we were left with like 2 options. And where this theater was, you couldn't really walk anywhere. So we were left with 2 options. Either, call my mom and tell her to come pick us up, or, what else can we see that's around the same time? And What Dreams May Come was actually the movie that we ended up going to see.
Oh, wow.
I was like a little too young to see that movie because I didn't understand like everything that was going on. It's a heavy movie.
Yeah, it really is.
And I mean, it's a great movie, and Robin Williams has always been like a huge favorite actor of mine, and I was definitely upset when he passed.
I know.
I mean, Hook. I still say that they can't make a better Peter Pan movie than Hook.
Yeah, I agree.
I had the sheets, I had some of the figures, I mean, Hook was really, I think, the best interpretation of Peter Pan that we got. But yeah, that was my little story about What Dreams May Come.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And my last closer question for you is, do you have any up-and-coming projects to promote?
Well, the biggest one right now is the book that just came out yesterday, so people can find that on Amazon. They can either Google my name, Gabrielle Stone, or type in Eat, Pray, FML, and it's on paperback and ebook as well. I just finished that horror film, Await the Dawn, so that should be out either late this year or early next year, and I have a couple films on demand right now that people can check out. One is called Swell, which is a road trip drama. There's another one called Cradle for Cash, which is a very Lifetime-esque, and I play a Russian in it, which is always fun. And then, come hang out with me on social media. I'm at Gabrielle Stone on all the platforms.
Awesome. And I'm sorry, actually, a question popped into my head, and I feel it's an important question to ask. Do you see yourself wanting to continue in horror, or would you like to see yourself in the future dabbling into other genres that are more of your favorites?
I mean, I'd love to do some comedy. That's one thing. I got to do some comedy in Swell, but I would definitely love to do some more comedy. I don't do only horror. I do mostly drama, actually. I turn down probably one horror project a month because there's a level of shitty horror out there that if it's going to be horror for me, it has to be a really, really great script. So, and I love the horror community and the fans are fucking awesome. So I never will not do horror, but it just has to be good material.
Got it. And if you could say you had one or three top favorite horror movies of all time, what would they be?
Oh, Lord. I don't get scared by ghost stuff. Like The Conjuring didn't shake me to my core by any means. The stuff that scares me is the shit that can really happen. Like The Strangers scared the living hell out of me because that can happen. You can be in a cabin and weird people can just show up and decide they want to fuck with you and murder you. That is horror to me. So probably The Strangers. I'm a huge fan of Jordan Peele. Get Out was top notch for me. I like smart horror. I'm not a big, I respect and love in its own way, the slasher flicks. I'm a fan of Rob Zombie's Halloween and all of the OG horrors, but yeah, probably those.
Oh, awesome. What did you think of Us?
I'm so conflicted about it still. My expectations for that film were ridiculously high. The preview for that film was one of the best trailers I've ever seen, between the music and just the essence of it. And I don't know if it was because my expectations were so high, but it fell a little short for me. Once I did all the research after and read up on all the stories and how everything connected, I really appreciated it, but I don't think that fully made it onto the screen.
I can agree with you on that. My personal take on it was I think I liked it more than Get Out.
Really?
Just because, Get Out, it's hard to tell if that's a horror movie or a thriller. And it's a fine line, but I think the idea of Get Out was more flushed out. I think the reason I like it just a little bit more is because it is a straightforward horror movie.
Yeah.
Versus, Get Out, it's debatable if it's horror or if it's a thriller or a mixture of both. But for me, I thought the first and second act were really, really good. And then I thought the third act kind of fell short. For me, I would have liked it a lot more if it was all supernatural versus trying to tie in the scientific aspect. I thought also once they went the route of instead of it being just, the one family, that it was the copies of everyone, I thought that kind of took it away from what the movie could have been.
Right.
I thought it would have been better if it focused on the family the whole time and then stayed, supernatural. But I love the Hills Have Eyes reference, speaking of your mom, in there with Pluto, because I had the pleasure of interviewing Michael Berryman as well. And,
awesome.
I think the Hills Have Eyes, both 1 and 2, were really good. And I even think the remakes that Wes Craven was involved with were excellent as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, Jordan Peele has a good way of paying homage to past horror films, which I always love.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's kind of like what I like to do in my own writing. Only it's like obscure like movie references.
Yeah, definitely.
You
But
know,
those are fun for people.
oh yeah, it's like little Easter eggs, that you can
Yeah.
throw in for people, and it's like, oh, where have I heard that name before?
Yeah.
But Gabrielle, it has been a pleasure talking to you. You can check out her book on Amazon. Check her out on social media. She's on all the platforms. It has been a pleasure talking with you. I would love to have you on the show again and talk about movies and some more of your work.
Totally. I would love that. Thank you for having me in the bowl.
Absolutely. And I, again, hope the temperature was just right.
It was perfect.
Awesome. All right.
All right, dude. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.